Hey, it's the True Party King, welcoming you to the Mind Palace. Let's figure out something to do. I don't know what the hell I am doing, but hopefully with your assistance it'll make sense. But here we are in a new location, figuring out administration. But yes, I'm excited for you to join me on this experience. Every day is a new journey if you just look at it that way. Hello, and welcome back to the Scheming Mind Palace. I'm your host, the True Party King, in an undisclosed location beyond undisclosed locations. Before, I always hinted that, this place, you don't know where it is. Ha ha ha. And that might have made sense at the time. But this location is currently so secret that I don't think it'll even be able to be public in the Footaust. Like other locations, I figure some point in the future, oh yeah, this place, we'll be blasting it on Instagram. We want you to all come join us, have a great time. But this place is so scandalous, is so, how should I say, it's so anarchistic in a sense that I don't even think there is a time in the future for it to be public. But maybe so far in the future that it ends up in the past. Yes, of course I love talking about the Footaust when we break down the question of the week in past, present, future, Footaust. And this week, our question is, where do we alter our consciousness? And for those who saw the question written and thought there maybe was a misprint, something that the grammar police, spell check police might be after me for, but no, it was very purposefully spelled with an AR, because we are talking about AltArs, inspired by the lovely lunar goddess who has been such a wonderful influence upon me. This space, we will first delve into the past from a personal note, which would be where were my first altars. Well, I mean, obviously, if you've been paying attention to my page, but I'll throw up a little image over there. There is a crazy pseudo-satanic altar, but not satanic. It's a pentacle or pentagram. Whatever is not the satanic one, they're the difference apparently. And yeah, so we did that version, the non-satanic version, but pseudo-satanic-ish? No, it is not. But this place where we have our Lord and Savior, baby Jesus, sitting on that altar, was the first place where I felt it was important for me to imbue a specific location with sacredness. Because if I were to first put a definition on what is an altar, which was of course helped out by the lunar goddess, a altar is a curated sacred space to feel elevated with whatever is available. So whenever you feel like, oh, I need to have the fancy this or that, or the crystals, or like anything specific, no, that is not an altar. If it is not within arm's reach, or pseudo arm's reach, if it is not easily accessible, then it is not an altar. The altar is exactly as you are, perfect in its current location. So if you don't have anything besides a little candle, that's all you need. All you need is just to light a candle, set an intention for however long the candle lasts for you to meditate on. Because in the end, that is all that we can really ask for, is a space where we feel as though we can drop into a state of consciousness that in our day-to-day is difficult to do so. Because, if you're working, you're commuting, doing all sorts of other things out of the matrix, it is difficult to drop into a altered state of consciousness, a meditative state. And obviously, if you're just starting out with meditation, you shouldn't be expected to do that. You're actively working against yourself. If you are just starting to learn how to alter your state of consciousness through meditation, it's all about consistency in terms of a location, perhaps a garb, like we said in previous time, with regards to that cloth that I was wearing, the Remember I Am one. That space is important because every time you go back to that space, your body just knows now is the time to drop in. Now is the time to feel one with the universe. When you're driving your car, you don't want to suddenly drop into feeling everything at once, being oneness with the universe. That's not a good time to do that. Not a good time if you're maybe swimming or something else, operating heavy machinery. No. You want to make sure it's a space where you feel secure and safe. And if we are to truly delve into the past of what is an altar, it would be nature, where I currently am. Somewhat. No, I'm definitely out of nature. Because if you think about all of our modern interpretations of an altar, it is just a replication of trying to bring the basic elements of nature inside. So as such, the most basicest of basic origins of an altar is the natural environment, where it all originates from. But then, once we had shelters and felt as though we kind of needed to hide our witchiness, felt like it was something to be feared, something that people persecuted us for practicing, and then kind of narrowing it in a little box that I would call the dictionary definition, if you go by the Oxford definition of what an altar is. That definition, which specifically discusses Christianity's involvement of altars. So basically, if you look up an altar, it's like, oh yeah, just whatever the Catholic Church does to, drink blood and eat flesh over and, blessed with holy water, whatever the hell. That is what I would consider close to an altar, but not quite there yet. The getting close but not there yet definition of an altar is definitely the current definition by the Oxford Dictionary in my interpretation. But moving from the past, let us move to the present. Where am I now? And wow, this bug just flew in my mouth when I'm saying that. This space is out in nature. This is a special, super secluded altar space for only, I would say, the most inner circle wows of the Mind Palace. And the true craziness, what is the reason why it's so secretive, why I can't let anyone see, is in there, but I won't show you. But this sculpture over here that I designed is watching over it for me while I'm gone, because I'm flying out to Italy tomorrow. Just a, side note, I feel like I'm always recording these podcasts literally right before I have to do something way more important. But that's the point. Always just shoehorning these episodes in whenever I feel that itch. And as such, this present space, I would also say, is very similar to Noah's Neon Ark. That is definitely another altar of sorts. It's not what you'd consider a traditional altar, but it is what I have available when I'm out in nature. And it's a space that when I go inside of it, it's like, okay, we're going deep into the trance state. We're really getting in touch with nature. And it's like, and then for a brief moment, just a brief moment, you get that enlightening experience. But it's not something that you'll ever reach if you think now is the time, I am ready, now I waited my whole life, I practiced. You have to, the way you enter into that state of meditation is always one where you're not expecting anything. And it's so difficult. Believe me, it's so hard for me to do all the time. Even as the crazy Mind Palace master over here. It's so hard. And once you start getting close to it and you're like, oh, now is the time, then it pushes you out. Oh, it's so frustrating. But it's so worth it. When you, meet God or something. Whatever that entities we meet are. That are beyond our understanding. That are probably watching over me right now. They can come out to play if they want, but I know the cameras won't pick it up, but I'll pick them up. Anyways, moving on from the present of where do we alter our consciousness, we go to the future. The future of where do we alter our consciousness would be, by best approximations, that would be ourselves. We are the ultimate altar. Once we have mastered utilizing a physical location to alter a state of consciousness, once we've mastered that, we don't need a spot. We have reached a level that I always like to put as like a benchmark for when you have become a Zen master, is when like someone just says go, boom, you can just get into that state in a split second. And honestly, it's probably the best way to do it, is not to like, well, again, it's like there's like ebbs and flows of difficulty. Like early on, you gotta like set everything up, make it a special space with the scents, the candles, everything to get in there. But then once you've kind of gotten over that initial difficulty curve, then it becomes really tricky, because you're kind of just going into the routine of it. But then when you've become the master, it's because you're basically a beginner again. And suddenly you're able to enter the meditative state, the state of feeling everything in the blink of an eye, in a split second. You're just like, and then, here I am. I'm back. You can drive your car and be like, I'm just gonna feel everything, gonna meet God while driving my car for a split second, because I know I am that good that I can come right back and not get into an accident. I'm not at that level, believe me. I can barely drive as it is. But once you have reached that level where you're just like, oh yeah, brushing my teeth, feeling like God, putting on clothes, feeling like God, or meeting God, or whatever, then you don't need a space, because you are the space. Because now that we have reached that level of the future that I love so much, that's so far ahead that we end up in the past. And oh my god. Oh shit. Wait, actually this is not... Oh, this is bad. Alright. Don't mind that. Whoopsie. Almost burned down my scheme to save humanity from itself. Don't mind that. Oh god. I was just looking at the camera and I was like, oh, that's a really big fire. And oh my god, that's too big. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, that was, I just met God right there. Anyways, the food toast. Now that I'm getting back on track. The food toast. The food toast. When we go so far into the future that we end up in the past, would probably be us mastering the ability to drop into the Zen state, feeling everything all at once, at all possible moments, to the extent where we could feel what it's like to be in the past, being people that are making altars or sacred spaces out of nature before people felt before people felt like it was something to be ashamed of. Because the funny thing is, as someone that didn't really consider myself a witch or wizard or whatever the hell up until like a month or so ago, that was only because I realized, oh, I was a closeted witch this whole time. Whoops, I guess I was a witch this whole time. Because I used to love lighting up candles in a bath, you know, getting all fun and frisky and bubbly and salty or whatever the heck. Making a whole special ritual of it that I literally would spend hours and hours and hours and hours in until my skin soaked all of that liquidy, salty goodness. Point where I had to like kick my feet out and hands out because I'm like, alright, these are getting too pruned. That was all me being a witch in the past. But now that I've gone so far into the future that I'm ending up back in the past, I see that us looking so far ahead that we end up in the past is simply another example of us reconnecting with nature, us reconnecting with the sacred, which is kind of what I'm doing over here in this super secret altar, which I definitely will show many more crazy clips of. But anyways, thank you so much for joining me on this crazy episode. I didn't expect for my whole scheme that I've been working on this thing for months. Like, you have no idea how long I was working on it, and to think it was all just gonna go up in flames as I was talking about it on a recording, that is so funny. It is so like everything I'm doing. Everything. It totally is on brand. It's totally on brand for whatever I've been spending forever on to go up in flames right before or during the time when I'm talking about it and revealing it to the public, kind of. Anyways, this has been a crazy episode, and I don't have words. Except curate your crazy on an altar.